You guys really seem to enjoy part 1 of this video of revisiting some of Fortnite's best one-season wonders, and so I'm back with a part 2. These are just those weapons that were only featured in one season. I will be excluding any weapons that have come back in Reload or any mythic weapons, just because the mythics would probably make up this entire list. And Fortnite Reload is not really Battle Royale. I mean, I guess it is, but it's not technically one of the core Battle Royale modes, so I will not put it on this list. The main criteria for these weapons, they were in one season of Fortnite and they have never come back. It's pretty simple. Be sure to use code TYFRYZ in the Fortnite item shop. The Marvel season comes out tomorrow. I know you guys are all going to be buying the Battle Pass. I am as well, so be sure to use code TYFRYZ when you do. With all that being said, let's get into part 2 of this video. In part 1, we saw a bunch of weapons from Chapter 2, Season 7, and we're going to continue that here with the Inflatable. And the Inflatable is a really good mobility item, one of the best mobility items, I would say. And it's really just your simple Chapter 2, Season 7 item. Well, not really simple, but your kind of wacky Chapter 2 Season 7 item, and there's a reason why this has never come back. It just doesn't fit in any other season. Chapter 2 Season 7 was so crazy, so unique, so quirky. All the items in that season are just insane. And the majority of them, well, haven't really come back for that reason. They don't fit the theme of any other season. I mean, think about it. You literally turn into a cow that just bounces around the map. I mean, where else would that work? Regardless, this video is not just one season wonders, but the best one season wonders, and the Inflatable is incredible. If you're able to get like a little bit of momentum where you're going down a hill, you can easily just fly across the entire map. I really mean that. The gameplay will show it. It's been quite a bit though since it's come out, and I don't know that we'll ever see it again, unfortunately. Next, we have arguably the best assault rifle of all time, the Twin Mag. And yeah, I'll be honest with you, you could probably chalk this one up to just being way too strong to come back. If they ever brought it back for another season, it would have to get significantly nerfed. It was just so strong. Look, I come from an FPS background. I have played FPS games for like a decade now, so whenever they add an assault rifle, specifically in Fortnite, like the MK7 or the Twin Mag, those red dot assault rifles that go into first person mode, I absolutely love it, and I think a lot of people share the same sentiment. I mean, 37 damage for this thing is wild. I mean, I don't even think the fact that you get a faster reload every other reload is that big of a deal. Like, it's good, don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining about it, but I don't think it's what makes this weapon stand out. It's just like the accuracy, in my opinion, it's just the red eye assault rifle, but 10 times better in like every single metric. The only thing I can really hate on, I guess, is the magazine size. It only has 20 bullets, but again, you are getting a faster reload every other reload. It was the dominant weapon in Chapter 4 Season 4, and that's no surprise. I don't know that it will ever come back just because of how strong it was. And I guess since we're on the topic of assault rifles, we have to talk about the Striker AR. And in my opinion, this is the best assault rifle that we have seen so far in Chapter 5. Now, do I think that will change with Chapter 5 Season 4 and the Stark Industries rifle? Yeah, probably. But the Striker AR was honestly so good. I mean, when you got this thing kitted out with the right attachments, it became an absolute beam, and probably one of the best weapons in the game. Absolutely was up there with the Thunder Burst in Chapter 5 Season 1. And yeah, as I previously mentioned, it was only in Chapter 5 Season 1 and vaulted shortly after. It was really just the fire rate that made it so good. Yeah, the damage was good, of course it was, but the fire rate was out of this world. I mean, the bullets were just going everywhere. You could dominate at close range, which a lot of people did. A lot of people didn't carry SMGs. They just used this and a shotgun. Get like a grip on this thing with a red dot sight and a suppressor. This thing became an absolute beam. It was so satisfying to use. I actually missed the Striker AR a lot. I would really bring it back, as I do think the assault rifle selection in Chapter 5 has been really, really weak besides this weapon. I don't know. I was always a Striker gang. I would always drop the Nemesis every single time. Striker gang in the comments below. I just despise the non-hit scan weapons. I know that is all of Chapter 5. They are all non-hit scan weapons, so I can't knock it too much for that. I just can't stand using weapons that are not hit scan. It feels so weird at those mid to long ranges. The gunfights just feel kind of ugly and messy. They don't feel clean. If you know what I'm talking about, you understand it, right? Still a really solid assault rifle all around. And here's one that I didn't even think about for part 1 until a bunch of you guys commented, so thank you for that. It's the Mammoth Pistol. Specifically from Chapter 4 Season 3. I know it came back in Reload, but as I said earlier in this video, that does not matter. This weapon, in my opinion, in the right hands, has the potential to be one of the strongest weapons of all time. I would honestly maybe put it in the top 10. I think you could probably make an argument for that. I mean, it was a pistol that could almost do 200 to the head. I think it was 198, if I remember correctly, in the legendary version. I could be wrong there. Something in the high 180s, low 190s. I mean, still, that is unreal for a pistol. Especially the fact that you got first shot accuracy, right? For lack lack of a better term, I guess, it literally was a pocket sniper. That's also because it used heavy bullets, which I think kind of knocks it a little bit because obviously heavy bullets are just naturally harder to find. But let's be honest, you kill one person mid to late game, you get all the heavy bullets you need for the rest of the match. As well as this, there were a ton of pistol augments in the game in Chapter 4, Season 3, so if you pair all those together, you could do some insane work with this weapon. I actually can't believe I forgot about it, and that's actually because I was literally playing Reload. I got absolutely destroyed by a sweat using one of these things. I'm like, oh my god, I have to include this in my video in a part 2 because it's just so good. I totally forgot. What a just unreal dominant weapon in Fortnite history. I'm actually glad that it hasn't come back. This thing, in my opinion, was like Reaper sniper rifle level bad. It kind of plagued the middle to end of Chapter 4, Season 3, so as long as it stays in the vault, I'm alright with that. Still really satisfying to use. You guys know what I'm talking about. Alright, let's go back to some mobility items here, specifically from Chapter 5, Season 1. How about the Grapple Blade? And I'll be honest with you, I just entirely forgot that this item ever existed. This weapon was only featured in Chapter 5, Season 1, and never again. I don't know, I feel kind of indifferent about the Grapple Blade. I know a lot of people love to gas this thing up, say it's like one of the best mobility items of all time. I don't think it's quite at that level, but it was a solid mobility item back in the beginning of Chapter 5. I mean, in that season, we really had Flowberry Fizz, I guess if you want to consider that a mobility item, Shockwave Grenades, and Grapple Blade, so it was relatively limited. I mean, it's alright. No one really ever even used the weapon function of this thing. It was mainly used for mobility, let's be honest. I just felt like it was really a dumbed down version of the ODM gear. To me, it felt really, really clunky. That's not to say like it's bad, right? I still do think that if you are in a fight with somebody, you can readjust really easily. If you're running away from someone, connect to a couple trees, you can get away. But it's still on this list because, again, while I don't think it's great, I do think it is decent. And of course, there's not like a huge wide range of weapons or items to choose from, right? There's only a select amount of items that have only been in one season of the game, and that's it. But yeah, I mean, besides the fact that it felt clunky, I don't have a ton of complaints with the Grapple Blade. I don't think it's one of the best mobility items of all time, but it's right in the middle of the road, I would say. All right, you Chapter 2, Season 6 lovers. I don't know if any of you guys still are out there or exist. I absolutely despise this season, but I gotta give props to the Primal SMG. Most of you watching this know it is my least favorite season. I hate this season. I never have anything good to say about it, but if there was one shining star that came out of this season, I would probably say it was the Primal SMG. In terms of all the makeshift and tactical and primal weapons, I believe the Primal SMG was the best of all of them. Totally unrelated, I absolutely love the sound of this weapon. It was just so like crispy, you know what I'm saying? And it had a couple of really good qualities, a lot of really good things going for it. One, the magazine size was 35. You don't see a ton of SMGs whose mags are above 30. Off the top of my head, right, I think of like the P90, the drum gun, and nothing else really comes to mind. And that's because it had an incredible fire rate. I mean, think about the Striker AR we were just talking about. That is one of the highest fire rate ARs of all time, and that shot at an 8 fire rate. This has a fire rate of 10. To compare that to other SMGs, just your regular base MP5 looking submachine gun has a fire rate of 11, so right up there, right? I also just think this weapon stands out so much because of how bad literally every other weapon was. To me, it felt like the Primal SMG was one of the only actual usable weapons in that entire season. Like if you compare it to like the makeshift SMG, for example, it is just a world of difference. It's not even comparable. So I think that kind of helps its case a little bit. Although it was like really inaccurate. I mean, let's be honest, every weapon that season was inaccurate and it wasn't good for long range. But again, it's an SMG, so you're not really gonna try and use it at those long ranges. I absolutely dunk on this season whenever I can, but I'll give credit where credit's due. I actually really do like the Primal SMG, but I don't think it'll ever come back, let's be honest. It's just like those Chapter 2 Season 7 weapons. Those Primal weapons only fit that Primal season theme from Chapter 2 Season 6, and unless they go way back in time again, I don't think we're going to see it again. The final item, and I honestly completely forgot this item existed. I really should have put it on my forgotten items and weapons list. This would have fit perfectly. It's the Dial-A-Drop. There was one soul that posted this in my comment section on my community post, so you know who you are if you're watching this video. Thank you. And this item was featured in Chapter 3 Season 4 only, which in its entirety I feel like was a really just forgettable season, so it doesn't surprise me that this thing hasn't come back. Although out of most of the items or weapons on this list, this might be the most likely to come back. It's a really cool item, right? Basically you can call in a supply drop, and I actually did some research. This item was in the works as early as Chapter 1, but it just only only came out at the end of chapter 3. It's a really cool idea, right? You can basically just call in a supply drop to your location, either one full of weapons, one full of shield, or I believe you could even send yourself a car or at least some car parts. Yeah, no, I just looked it up. It would completely send you a fully modded out pickup truck. So yeah, a car just falling out of the sky. I guess the only downside really here is that everybody on the map can see it. It's not like you just call in the supply drop and nobody but you can see it. Everybody can see the location, just like if it were a regular supply drop coming in the game. But the thing I love about an item like this is something you are always going to use every single time you see it, for the most part, right? Even if you have like absolutely loaded weapons, you're still going to call in the supply drop because you want to see if you can get legendary weapons, right? Or if you need heals, just call it in and you'll get insta heals. But again, that downside is people will know where you are. If you call in a supply drop in the middle of a circle, right, when the supply drops don't normally spawn, then yeah, people are going to know where you are. It actually really surprised me when I looked this up and saw that it had only been in chapter 3 season 4. I thought it came back at some point, but no, it never did. But I think an item like this would be a welcome return to Fortnite. All right, guys, that is part 2 to kind of revisiting some of Fortnite's best one season wonders. Let me know in the comment section if you agree with this list. Are there any weapons or items that I forgot about? If you would like to see me make one of these with just mythic items exclusively, I can absolutely do that. I think that would be a great video. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to leave it a like. Tune in the coming days for all chapter 5 season 4 content, ranking videos, battle pass skins. They will absolutely all be coming to this channel, so make sure you subscribe with notifications on to see those. With all that being said, I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.